Amidst the smoke and chaos of the Hamas-Israel conflict, a story unfolds that challenges the very boundaries of geopolitics and human resilience, revealing a tapestry of hope, fear, and the unbreakable spirit of those caught in the crossfire. Join us on a mind-bending journey through the heart of this conflict, where the line between adversary and ally blurs, and the future of an entire region hangs in the balance. The recent Israeli-Palestinian conflict, marked by the firing of over 5,000 rockets from Gaza and Israel's declaration of a state of war, brings to the forefront a deep-seated historical backdrop in the Middle East, shedding light on a complex history with far-reaching global implications. This conflict draws parallels to other international disputes, such as the Russia-Ukraine conflict, underscoring the intricate dynamics at play in regional conflicts around the world. Origin of Hamas. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, with historical origins after World War I and the Balfour Declaration, escalated with the 1947 UN Partition Plan and 1948 State of Israel Declaration, resulting in war and Palestinian displacement, perpetuating ongoing tension. Hamas, an acronym for Harakat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyya, Islamic Resistance Movement, is a Palestinian political and militant group founded in 1987 during the First Intifada, Palestinian uprising, against Israeli rule in the occupied territories of Palestine according to Hamas. Hamas's role is contentious, with some viewing them as freedom fighters and others as terrorists due to their use of violence against civilians. Despite international attempts to broker peace, a lasting resolution remains elusive. According to Hamas and some Muslim nations, the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 led to the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. Over the decades, various Palestinian factions emerged, seeking to address grievances related to displacement, occupation, and statelessness, while the Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO, became the most prominent representative of the Palestinian cause by the 1960s and 1970s. It was largely secular and nationalist in its orientation. In contrast, Hamas emerged in the late 1980s with a distinct religious and Islamist identity. Its charter, released in 1988, combined Palestinian nationalism with Islamic fundamentalism. It called for the establishment of an Islamic state in historic Palestine, including present-day Israel, the West Bank, and the Gaza Strip. They can do anything to remove Israel from the world map. Approaching the abyss, state of war. The recent surge in violence has pushed the Israeli-Palestinian crisis perilously close to a potentially devastating conflict. Gaza has launched thousands of rockets at Israel, leading Israeli authorities to declare a state of war and advise citizens to seek shelter. This alarming situation has already inflicted casualties on both sides and raises the specter of a full-scale war. Hamas claims that its actions are a response to what it perceives as Israeli transgressions and occupation. On the other hand, Israel argues that it has an inherent right to defend itself against rocket attacks and safeguard its citizens' safety. This recurring cycle of violence has once again thrust the Israeli-Palestinian conflict into the global spotlight, prompting world leaders to call for restraint and a peaceful resolution. The ongoing conflict underscores the urgency of finding a lasting and equitable solution to address the grievances and aspirations of both Israelis and Palestinians, a task that continues to challenge the international community. The conflict between Hamas and Israel is rooted in a complex web of historical, political, and ideological factors. Here are 4 key reasons behind their ongoing conflict. Territorial dispute. One of the central issues is the territorial dispute over land in the region, particularly in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. Both Hamas and Israel assert historical and religious claims to this land, leading to competing sovereignty claims. Security concerns. Israel cites security concerns as a primary reason for its actions in the region. Hamas's history of launching rocket attacks from Gaza into Israeli territory, along with concerns about terrorism and threats to Israeli citizens, drives much of Israel's military response. Blockade and economic strain. The Israeli blockade of Gaza, in place since 2007, has led to severe economic hardship and humanitarian crises. Hamas views this blockade as a form of collective punishment against the Palestinian population, while Israel argues it is necessary for security reasons. Ideological differences. Hamas and Israel hold fundamentally different ideological positions. Hamas is an Islamist organization that seeks the establishment of an Islamic state in historic Palestine, while Israel is a Jewish state. These conflicting ideologies contribute to the ongoing tension and mistrust between the two entities. These reasons, among others, have contributed to a long-standing and deeply entrenched conflict between Hamas and Israel, making it a challenging issue to resolve. How Mossad functions and why it failed to stop Hamas attack. With a $3 billion annual budget and 7,000-strong staff, Mossad is the second-largest espionage agency in the West after the CIA. The Mossad maintains a discrete internal structure, concealing many of its departmental specifics. Its operations encompass a wide array of activities, including the cultivation of confidential sources and operatives within Palestinian militant organizations, as well as in adversarial nations such as Lebanon, Syria, and Iran. Concerns have arisen regarding how Hamas has managed to amass a substantial arsenal of rockets and missiles in close proximity to its own territory without being detected by Israeli intelligence. Additionally, questions have been raised about the performance of Israel's typically dependable Iron Dome missile defense system, particularly in its ability to intercept all incoming projectiles launched from Gaza. Amir Avivi, a retired Israeli general, emphasized that Israel, lacking a presence within Gaza, increasingly relies on technology for intelligence. He noted that militants in Gaza have adapted to evade technological surveillance, resulting in an incomplete understanding of their intentions. Avivi, president and founder of the Israel Defense and Security Forum, a group of former military leaders, stated that militants have regressed technologically, avoiding phones and computers while conducting sensitive activities in secure, technology-free environments or underground facilities. Impact of Israel-Hamas war on global economy and markets. Skyrocketing oil prices. Crude oil prices experienced a significant surge on Monday due to escalating tensions in the Middle East, a region that accounts for nearly one-third of the world's oil supply. Inflation. With the surge in crude oil prices, the specter of heightened inflation looms over the global economy. Major economies like the United States, India, and China, substantial oil importers, face the risk of increased imported inflation should oil prices persist at elevated levels. This rise in oil prices simultaneously leads to increased production costs across industries and elevated energy expenses for businesses and households, contributing to the upward pressure on inflation. Global markets. The Israel-Hamas conflict has unsettled equity markets worldwide, prompting investors to seek refuge in safe haven assets. Investors are exercising caution and closely monitoring global events, as a risk-off sentiment pervades the market. Comparing conflict dynamics, Israel-Palestine and Russia-Ukraine. Drawing parallels between the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war offers valuable insights into enduring disputes. Both conflicts, rooted in history and geopolitics, highlight how unresolved territorial and ethnic tensions can escalate into protracted confrontations. The Russia-Ukraine war's evolution from a local issue to a global crisis underscores the danger of prolonged conflicts. Similarly, the Israeli-Palestinian struggle, marked by intermittent violence and elusive peace, underscores the importance of early, sustained diplomacy to prevent crises from expanding regionally. Despite their distinct origins, both conflicts underscore the need for robust conflict resolution mechanisms to protect not only the involved nations but also international stability. In the complex world of international relations, where the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains a formidable challenge, a resounding call for global unity and mediation echoes. It urges nations to gather as a storm seeks refuge in reason's harbor. Imagine a world map where shifting alliances dance amidst turmoil. Pursuing peace here isn't just a moral imperative, it's a vital necessity for regional stability and global harmony. Diplomacy and mediation must be the world's foremost tools, sculpting justice in this enduring conflict narrative, with the global community as the stewards of hope and unity.